I, 28F, live in a medium-sized city on the East Coast. I've been renting a two-bedroom apartment with my roommate Carly, not her real name, but close enough, for about a year and a half. We met through mutual friends, clicked pretty fast, and decided to split a nice place in a safe neighborhood. She seemed normal, maybe a little flaky, but funny, charming, and very into astrology and overpriced skincare. Carly worked as a freelance graphic designer, which sounded fake, but whatever, her rent was always on time and she wasn't around much. I work in finance, so my hours are long, and we mostly coexisted peacefully. She liked kombucha and reading her birth chart aloud. I liked silence and not touching anyone else's oat milk. It worked. Until it didn't. A few months ago, I got denied for a credit card I absolutely should have qualified for. I didn't think much of it, maybe it was a weird blip. I checked Credit Karma and saw my score had dropped, but not dramatically. There was a car loan listed that I didn't recognize. It was under my name, but I figured maybe it was a reporting error. I meant to dispute it. I didn't. I was working 60-hour weeks and had just broken up with my long-term boyfriend. I wasn't at my sharpest. Fast forward to last week. I applied for a new apartment. I'm planning to move out soon and get my own place. That's when the real nightmare started. I got a call from the leasing office saying they couldn't approve me due to my delinquent auto loan. I literally laughed and said, I don't even own a car. I live walking distance from work and take the train if I go anywhere far. They sent me the credit report, and that's when my heart dropped. Not only was there a car loan under my name, it was over $28,000. There was also an address listed I didn't recognize and an insurance policy linked to it. I looked up the VIN listed in the documents. It was for a 2021 silver Jeep Cherokee. That's Carly's car. She got it a little under a year ago. I remember she was so smug about it, said she got a great deal and had a connect at the dealership. I thought she leased it under her business or something. It's in my name. I waited until Carly came home from her yoga class. Yes, she's that person. I sat her down, told her I got denied for the apartment, and asked her point blank, is that Jeep registered under my name? She froze. Her exact words were, it's not technically like that, but also kind of, yes. I didn't say anything. I just stared at her. She started crying, like full-on sobbing. Snot. Taze. Told me she was desperate at the time and her credit was trashed and she didn't think it would affect me that much. She said she used my information to co-sign without MY permission and that the dealership barely checked and she just needed a way to get to work. I couldn't even process what I was hearing. She stole my identity. She signed my name on legal documents. She took out a $28,000 loan in my name and has been driving around in her little stolen Jeep like everything's fine. She begged me not to report her. Said she'd fix it. Said she'd transfer the loan. I walked out of the apartment and stayed at a friend's place. I've filed a police report. I've frozen my credit. I contacted the dealership and explained the situation. They were not helpful. They said unless I can prove the signature was forged, it's still under my legal responsibility. I also talked to a lawyer. She told me to gather every bit of documentation I could and that while it's a clear case of identity theft, getting the loan reversed might take months or years. And in the meantime, the loan is dragging down my credit, which means I can't move. I can't finance anything. I can't even get a decent credit card right now. But here's the kicker. When I pulled my credit report again today, I noticed something new. The car was refinanced 2 months ago, and the new lien holder is a company that allows remote repossessions. Guess whose name the refinance was done under? Mine. Again. And the address used for the new paperwork? Not mine. Hayes. I'm going to war. Update. I didn't sleep after posting my first update. I barely ate. I couldn't think. I just sat at my friend's kitchen table with my laptop open and a growing pile of documents, coffee cups, and rage. You know that feeling when you realize you've been played and every interaction you had with someone starts to shift in your memory like puzzle pieces rearranging themselves? That was me. I replayed everything with Carly in my head like I was watching surveillance footage of my own life. It didn't help that Carly had texted me 5 times between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. The messages went from panicked, please don't go to the police, we can figure this out, to guilt-tripping, I was your friend, I made one mistake, to pathetic bargaining, I'll give you the car. Just don't ruin my life. That last one? That's what flipped a switch in me. You'll give me the car? The one you stole in my name? Nah. We're done playing fair. At around 9 a.m., I drove back to the apartment with my lawyer's paralegal on the phone and 2 printed copies of the police report in my backpack. Carly wasn't home. Good. I went into her room and took photos of everything even remotely related to that Jeep: keys, loan papers, her vision board that literally had Jeep Life in glitter gel pen taped to it. She'd left a manila envelope on her desk with registration papers, a few loan notices, and, bless the universe, a refinance contract with my forged signature. That was gold. I snapped photos of it all and then sat down to call the finance company she used to refinance the loan. The lady on the phone was polite, even helpful, until I explained that I didn't authorize the refinance and someone used my name and credit to do it. Then she went full corporate robot mode. "I'm sorry, we can't speak further about this account unless you verify identity with your security code." I said, "You mean the security code someone set up pretending to be me?" Dead silence. Then she said, "You'll need to submit a fraud affidavit. Have a nice day." Click. Okay, game on. I spent the next 3 hours sending out formal letters, affidavits, and copies of the police report to every company involved. I filed an FTC identity theft complaint. I printed out 47 pages of documents, highlighted every fake signature, every mismatched address, and every detail that proved this loan wasn't mine. I had a lawyer on standby. And still, none of this fixed my credit. My score was still crap. I still couldn't get approved for anything. And I was still living in the same apartment as the girl who did this to me. So I made a decision. If the car's legally mine, then it's mine. I waited for Carly to come home. She walked in wearing sunglasses like she was avoiding paparazzi. I told her calmly, "I need the keys." She stared at me like I'd just asked for her soul. I said, "You bought a car in my name. You refinanced it in my name. You forged my signature multiple times. The car is registered under my legal identity. It's mine." She said, "I paid for it." I said, "With my credit and my social security number. You committed felony fraud. Do you want to keep arguing or do you want to keep breathing free air?" She handed over the keys. That night, I parked the Jeep at my friend's place and called my insurance company to add it to my existing plan. I explained the situation, sent them the police report, and got full coverage on it within 2 hours. I also requested a GPS tracker and kill switch installation, not because I'm paranoid, but because I knew Carly. If she thought she could steal it back, she would try. By the next morning, I had the car legally covered, GPS tracked, and safely locked up in a secure lot. And Carly? She went absolutely feral. She came into my room screaming, accused me of ruining her life, said she trusted me, called me every name you can imagine, then finally begged me to give her a chance to pay it off and make it right. I told her, flatly, "You've had a year. You could have told me anytime. You didn't. You forged my signature again to refinance it. That's not desperation, that's premeditated." She stormed out and slammed the door so hard our kitchen shelf fell down. Now I'm getting texts from mutual friends saying I'm being too harsh, that I should have given her time, that she just made a bad choice. One friend even said, "It's not like she killed someone." Okay, but she killed my credit. She killed my chances at buying my own place this year. She killed my ability to trust someone I used to consider a friend. And I haven't even told the worst part yet. Today, I checked my credit again and found another account opened under my name. This time it's a store card, opened 6 months ago, with charges on it. I checked the billing address. Guess where it goes? Her boyfriend's place. Turns out, Carly wasn't just using my identity to buy a Jeep. She was using it for everything. I found charges for electronics, beauty products, even an Uber Eats order from the same day she told me she couldn't afford gas. I called my lawyer again. She said we need to escalate to a civil suit in addition to the criminal charges already underway. I'm compiling a full timeline. I've already subpoenaed security footage from the dealership. The lawyer is working on getting a handwriting expert to verify the signature forgery. And the dealership? Well, they are starting to sweat. Because if this goes public, they are liable for failing to verify identity. And trust me, it will go public. I've already spoken to a local reporter who's interested in running the story. Carly's life isn't just unraveling. It's about to be broadcast. And I'm just getting started. Update. It's been 10 days since I moved the Jeep into that secured lot, and Carly has completely lost her mind. I don't say that lightly. I mean she's gone from panic to threats to manipulative texting campaigns aimed at everyone we've ever known. If this were a horror movie, we'd be at the point where the monster takes off the human mask and shows its real face. I wish I could say things calmed down after I took the car, but that would be a lie. That was just the beginning. When someone's willing to commit identity fraud to get what they want, you have to assume they're capable of even worse when that thing gets taken away. And I was right. It started with her trying to get the car back. She filed a report with the police saying I stole her Jeep. I found this out when I got a call from a very confused officer asking if I had paperwork proving I was the registered owner. I calmly emailed over the police report, the title, the insurance, and the copy of the fraudulent loan documents with her fake signature on them. I also included the email thread with my lawyer and the complaint I filed with the FTC. That officer never called back. I imagine he realized pretty quickly that he was dealing with a walking red flag. I confronted her about it. She denied it. Said, "I don't know what you're talking about," with the kind of dead-eyed gaslighting you only hear in movies where the villain gets stabbed in the end. When I told her I knew exactly which officer called me, she rolled her eyes and said, "You're so dramatic. I just wanted to scare you a little." She tried to scare me? After she stole from me? Bold move. Then came the group text. She sent a massive message to our entire friend circle, people from college, co-workers, even people I haven't talked to in months, saying I was trying to ruin her life over a misunderstanding, that I stole her car, and that she was being persecuted by someone who used to be her friend. She conveniently left out the part where she committed felony identity theft. She made it sound like I had a grudge and was taking it out on her by weaponizing the legal system. Yeah, that's a real phrase she used. For the most part, people didn't buy it. A couple of our mutual friends messaged me privately to ask what was really going on. I sent them the police report. That shut things down quick. But a few others, people who always liked the drama, started taking her side. One girl even messaged me and said, "Even if she did use your info, you didn't have to take the car. That's vindictive." I blocked her. Let me say this clearly. If someone steals your identity, racks up debt in your name, tanks your credit, and lies about it, you are under zero obligation to play nice. You're not vindictive. You're protecting your life. And that's exactly what I plan to do. After Carly's little social media pity party failed, she tried a new tactic. She offered me money. Not enough to cover the loan, obviously. Not even half. She Venmo requested me $200 with a caption to make peace. I declined it and sent back a formal letter from my lawyer requesting that she cease all contact and that any further communication should go through legal channels. She responded with a 14-paragraph email at 3:42 a.m. I didn't even open it. I forwarded it straight to my lawyer. The next morning, I went to court to file for a civil suit. It's not the same as the criminal charges, those are already in motion, but this would be for damages. Financial, emotional, reputational. The lawyer helped me draft the filing. We listed everything. The loan, the credit damage, the missed apartment, the stress, the hours spent cleaning up her mess. We included the fraudulent refinance, the store card in my name, and the forged signature. The total damages we're seeking is just under $38,000. And then something unexpected happened. I got a letter from the car loan company. The second one. The one Carly refinanced through. It said the loan had officially gone into default due to non-payment and that repossession proceedings were starting against me. Let that sink in. Even though I'd reported the fraud. Even though there's a police report. Even though I have a lawyer and documents and proof that I didn't authorize the loan because it was technically in my name, I was still on the hook. I called them immediately. Spent 2 hours on hold. When I finally got someone, she said, "Unfortunately, unless we receive a court order confirming fraud, the account remains your responsibility." I lost it. I asked her, "So what you're telling me is someone can forge a signature, steal my identity, default on a loan I didn't know existed, and you'll still hold me responsible?" She said, "I understand your frustration. That's corporate speak for, we don't care." So I made a new plan. If they were going to try and repo the Jeep, fine. I called the GPS tracking company and gave them notice. If anyone tried to move the car, I'd be notified. Then I called a different tow company, my tow company, and had the Jeep moved to my uncle's garage 2 counties over. My uncle's a mechanic. He's also got cameras on his property, a locked gate, and the attitude of someone who doesn't suffer fools. That Jeep isn't going anywhere. While I was at it, I also reported the car stolen from me. The police already had the report about the identity theft, but now that Carly was trying to claim ownership and had tried to reverse repo it, I wanted it on the record. The officer I spoke to was actually helpful. He said if she tried to use the car again, or if someone tried to access it without my permission, I could press charges for attempted theft in addition to fraud. Carly must have realized something changed, because the next day, she was gone. I came home to an empty bedroom. No note, no explanation. Just a pile of trash bags and a mattress with a cigarette burn in it. She vanished. I thought maybe she ran, that I'd never hear from her again. But 3 days later, my lawyer got an email from her lawyer. Apparently, she'd finally realized how deep she was in and lawyering up was her only option. The email was full of legalese, but the message was clear. Carly was trying to settle. They offered to assume financial responsibility for the outstanding loan if I agreed to drop the civil suit and not pursue further criminal charges. It was laughable. First of all, The criminal charges weren't mine to drop, they were the state's. Second, I didn't trust Carly to pay back a pack of gum, let alone a $28,000 loan. And third, she didn't offer to repair my credit or pay for the time, the stress, the embarrassment, the hours of work cleaning up her mess. I told my lawyer to decline. We're going to court. In the meantime, my credit is still screwed. I've submitted dispute letters to all 3 major bureaus, along with supporting documentation. I got a notice that my file is under review, but it could take up to 45 days for any changes. So for now, I'm living at my friend's place, using a debit card for everything, and hoping I don't get another surprise bill for something Carly bought with my identity. Every time I see a package on the doorstep that I didn't order, my stomach flips. Every time my phone rings with an unknown number, I brace myself for more bad news. I didn't ask for this war, but I'm going to finish it. She thought I was the kind of person who would roll over and take it. She thought I'd be too polite, too embarrassed, too scared to fight back. She was wrong. I own the car now. But more than that, I own the narrative. This girl thought she could wreck my life and walk away without consequence. She's about to learn how long a shadow you cast when you burn someone who has nothing left to lose. Next court date is in 2 weeks. I'll be ready. Update: I didn't know how much anger I was holding in until I walked into that courtroom. It wasn't the criminal trial yet, that's still pending. This was the civil suit I filed against Carly. We were there to argue the fraud, the financial damages, and the disaster she left in the wake of pretending to be me. I'd spent the week before going over every document with my lawyer. Credit reports, emails, the forged loan paperwork, the screenshots of the Uber Eats orders, even the vision board that said Manifest Jeep Energy. It was funny at first, then it just made me sick. Court was scheduled for 9 a.m. in one of those gray, airless rooms where time seems to move in slow motion. My lawyer was a total beast in heels, calm, focused, polite in a terrifying way. She told me to let her do the talking, that I didn't need to prove emotion, just facts. I kept nodding like I understood. But the second I saw Carly walk in, my pulse spiked so hard I thought I'd pass out. She looked different, smaller. Her hair wasn't done. She was wearing a wrinkled blazer over tank top, and she didn't have her phone in her hand for once. No makeup, no jewelry, just this blankness, like she wasn't really there. Her lawyer, a pudgy guy in a loud tie, tried to act chummy with mine, but she wasn't having it. When the judge walked in, the room got quiet real fast. And then it started. Her lawyer opened with the classic, "My client admits she made a mistake but did not intend to cause long-term harm" garbage. He painted her as desperate, financially inexperienced, and unaware of the severity of her actions. He even tried to say she thought I knew about the loan, that she'd asked for permission and I'd verbally agreed, but forgot. I actually laughed. Out loud. Got a look from the judge. Sat on my hands and bit my tongue. My lawyer went next. She was surgical. She laid out the timeline with receipts, literal ones. The dealership paperwork with the forged signature. The refinance application with the incorrect security answers. The credit card opened in my name with charges from Carly's boyfriend's address. The default notices. The denial from the apartment I tried to rent. Every piece of the wreckage left behind. Then she played the voicemail. I haven't mentioned this yet, but about a week after Carly ghosted the apartment, she accidentally called me while she was venting to her boyfriend. I didn't pick up, but she left a voicemail. A full 2-minute rant about how this bitch thinks she can take my car just because I used her credit, and who even cares? It's not like I killed her. I saved that voicemail. My lawyer played it aloud in court. Carly turned bright red, then pale. Her lawyer didn't know where to look. The judge listened to the whole thing. Silent. When it ended, he looked at Carly and asked, "Ms. Redacted, do you deny that was your voice?" She didn't answer. Her lawyer whispered something, and finally she shook her head no. That was it. The judge didn't even recess. He issued an immediate ruling in my favor. Full damages, $38,000. He ordered her to begin repayment within 30 days or face wage garnishment. He even approved the request to forward the civil judgment to the credit bureaus as part of my dispute, which might help repair some of the damage she caused. I walked out of that courtroom shaking, sweating, but with the faintest hint of vindication in my chest. And then Carly chased me into the hallway. I swear I'm not making this up. This girl who just got slapped with a massive civil judgment and exposed in open court as a liar and fraud ran up to me crying, saying she didn't think it would go this far, that she was going to pay me back eventually, and she just needed a chance. She said, "You don't understand what it's like to feel powerless." I turned and said, "I do now." I walked away. I thought that would be the end, that we'd go our separate ways. But Carly, she doesn't know how to let things go. And her next move nearly knocked me over. 2 days after the court case, my friend sent me a screenshot of a GoFundMe page. The title? Help Carly Fight Financial Abuse. I'm not joking. She had written this full sob story about how she was financially manipulated by a friend who entrapped her in a bad loan and was now punishing her for being poor. She said she was being sued into poverty and facing homelessness because she trusted the wrong person. She didn't use my name, but she included a photo of herself standing in front of the Jeep that was in my name. She raised $600 in 2 days, mostly from people who had no idea what was actually going on. Her caption was full of half-truths and outright lies. One paragraph literally said, "I thought she was helping me. I didn't know she'd use it to control me." I was fuming. I called my lawyer. She said the GoFundMe wasn't illegal, but we could send a cease and desist for defamation, and if Carly kept posting lies, we could add another suit for damages to reputation. So we sent the letter. Carly took the page down the next day, but the damage was already starting to show in other places. Word got out. People who had taken her side in the beginning, they started messaging me, apologizing, saying they didn't know the whole story, that she told them I was exaggerating, that she made herself sound like the victim. One girl, someone I hadn't spoken to since college, sent me a DM saying, "I'm so sorry. I shared her GoFundMe without realizing. I just took it down." I thanked her. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't want it to be a public feud. I just wanted my name back. But Carly made it public, so I let it stay public. A week later, the local paper ran a story on identity theft victims. They interviewed me anonymously about the loan, the forged signature, and the court case. They didn't name her, but enough people knew the details to put it together. Especially when someone from the dealership reached out to say they were launching their own internal investigation because the salesperson who helped Carly with the original loan might have cut corners on the identity verification process. Translation: someone's about to get fired. I found out through the grapevine that Carly's now living with her sister across town. Her boyfriend dumped her. I guess financial crime wasn't sexy enough to keep him around. She lost 2 freelance gigs. Turns out, people don't want to hire someone whose name comes up next to identity theft in a local paper. She's also allegedly trying to rebrand as a victim of toxic friendships. Meanwhile, I got a call from one of the credit bureaus. They approved the fraud dispute. My score went up by 118 points overnight. It's not perfect yet, I've still got cleanup to do, but it's moving in the right direction. And the Jeep? Still locked up at my uncle's shop. Still legally mine. He even gave it a tune-up, just to be petty. I'm planning to sell it and use the money to pay off the lawyer and move into the apartment I wanted in the first place. The leasing office said they'd re-review my application now that my credit is recovering and the fraud is on record. For the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe. I didn't win because I shouted the loudest. I won because I didn't back down. Carly tried to steal my identity. Instead, she handed me hers. Now everyone knows who she really is. And I'm just getting my life back. Update. When I posted my last update, I thought the worst was behind me. I'd won the civil suit. The fraudulent loan was being removed from my credit. Carly's GoFundMe scam was taken down. The Jeep was safe, the truth was out, and I was finally starting to feel like myself again. But if this story has taught me anything, it's that chaos doesn't always die quietly. About a week after the article in the local paper ran, I got a call from the district attorney's office. The assistant DA assigned to my criminal case wanted me to come in for a meeting not just to go over my victim statement again, but because new evidence had surfaced. I went in that Friday. My lawyer came with me. And the ADA, a sharp woman named Kendall who looked like she hadn't smiled since 2006, sat us down in this windowless conference room with a manila folder so thick it looked like it could kill a man. She opened it. Inside were over 30 pages of new documentation, all tied to credit card applications, loan inquiries, and one very suspicious PayPal account, all under my name, or at least versions of it. Slight misspellings, a different middle initial, but still using my SSN, my birth date, and old addresses I recognized. Turns out, Carly had been trying to open lines of credit in my name since before the Jeep. The Jeep wasn't the first time. It was just the first time she got greedy. The ADA said that once the dealership came under review, remember, I mentioned someone from their office called me, they started reviewing their security footage and internal logs. What they found was damning. The salesperson who helped Carly had flagged the loan application for secondary review, meaning it needed a manager to approve it due to inconsistencies in the ID Carly presented. The manager overrode the system and approved it anyway, without verifying the signature, without checking the SSN through proper channels. Because Carly had promised a bigger deal was coming, something about helping her boyfriend finance 2 more cars. Spoiler, that never happened. It was just more smoke and mirrors. But here's the best part. That manager just got arrested. No, seriously. He'd been running a side hustle pushing through shady approvals for people with bad credit using fake cosigners. He got kickbacks from the loans, and in Carly's case, he apparently knew the documents were forged. Carly wasn't just scamming me. She was part of a small but growing criminal web tied to the dealership. I sat in that conference room in stunned silence. I don't even remember what I said. Something like, "Are you serious?" or "Holy sh**." My lawyer asked what that meant for my case. Kendall smiled a sharp little smile that didn't reach her eyes and said, "It means we're going for full prosecution. Multiple felony counts. Identity theft. Wire fraud. Forgery. Possibly conspiracy." I thought I would feel vindicated. Instead, I felt cold. Just this heavy pit in my stomach, like I was watching someone get buried alive but they dug the hole themselves. The criminal trial was scheduled for 6 weeks later. Carly was arrested the following Tuesday. I wasn't there to see it, but my neighbor, bless her nosy soul, told me everything. The unmarked car, the plainclothes officers, the way Carly tried to slam the door on them and screamed, "I'm calling my lawyer," as they cuffed her in sweatpants. She spent the night in county before her family bailed her out. She didn't post about it online. She didn't even show up to our mutual circles anymore. It was like she vanished. And maybe part of me hoped she'd run, flee to another state, start over and leave me alone. But she didn't. She showed up to court. Twice. I didn't attend every hearing. But I was there for the sentencing. She pleaded guilty to 3 counts: identity theft in the first degree, forgery, and fraudulent use of a financial instrument. The DA dropped the conspiracy charge in exchange for a guilty plea and full restitution. The judge sentenced her to 18 months probation, 500 hours of community service, mandatory credit education classes, and full restitution of the remaining balance from the car loan which, thanks to the sale, was nearly paid off. But the civil damages stood. That $38,000 judgment? Still owed. She's making monthly payments now. Small ones. $117 a month. It'll take her over 27 years to pay it off, but hey, interest accrues. She tried to apologize. Not to me, not directly. She gave a statement in court, full of shaky voice theatrics and that same, "I didn't realize what I was doing" nonsense. She said, "I was just trying to survive. I never wanted to hurt anyone." The judge didn't even blink. "You were given multiple opportunities to come clean," he said. "You chose to dig deeper instead." The courtroom was silent. I walked out and didn't look back. Since then, I've gotten more than just my car and my credit back. The dealership settled with me out of court. I can't say the amount, but let's just say it covered my legal fees and then some. They issued a formal apology, fired the manager, and installed new identity verification protocols. The guy who helped Carly with the loan is facing his own charges now, too. I finally got approved for the apartment I wanted. Moved in last month. New neighborhood. Quiet. No roommates. Just me, my plants, and the sound of my name not being used to buy vape pens and Ubers. My credit is still recovering, but it's over 720 now. I've locked it down so tight not even I can access it without blinking into 6 different retina scanners. I've got fraud alerts on all accounts, password managers, and a healthy distrust of anyone who owns a Jeep. Sometimes I get messages from strangers, people who read the story in the paper or found my thread online. They tell me it happened to them too, that they trusted someone, that their credit was wrecked, that they were too embarrassed to tell anyone. And every time I read one of those messages, I think back to the first day I realized something was wrong when I got denied for an apartment and Carly sat across from me with tears in her eyes and lies in her mouth. She almost got away with it. Almost. But here's the last thing I'll say. People like Carly don't start big. They start small, borrowing things, asking for favors, saying "I'll pay you back next week." It escalates, bit by bit, until one day you wake up and realize your life has been hijacked. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't give someone the benefit of the doubt when they keep taking advantage of your benefit and never giving you the doubt. I spent a year thinking I was crazy. Turns out I was just trusting the wrong person. Not anymore. I own my name now, and my credit, and, for a brief, glorious moment, a silver Jeep Cherokee that became the symbol of one very stupid criminal mistake. Good luck, Carly. You're going to need it.